Hello everyone and welcome back to the Reddit Nights channel. My name is Anthony and today I'll be discussing a story regarding an OP who actually found out some truths about her family that she did not want to find out and her own little way of getting revenge. If you could do me a favor and like, comment, share, and subscribe to the video, it helps with the algorithm, it helps me become a better content creator, and it helps me get more motivation to continue on this path. I will admit that I did lose a lot of motivation when I got hit with those copyright strikes a little while back, and I apologize to those of you who have been waiting on me on making more content. I didn't realize how many people were actually interested in this, and to those who were watching and patiently waiting and wondering if I would ever return, I am back, and I do apologize for making you wait for so long. You guys are the bloodline of this entire channel. I do this for you guys. I appreciate you all so much. And special shout out to my mom who kept trying to motivate me even though I was going through a demotivating time. Love you, Mom. I know you're watching. Stay safe. But enough of all the babble and all the plugins and all that stuff. Let's get to the story. And this story is from Choice Evidence 1983 with the story, "Am I the a-hole for not letting my husband into the labor room and picking our child's name?" Plus an 11 months update. This sounds really interesting. I can't wait to chomp into this one. And the original post was made on January the 26th, 2024. This is a throwaway account because I'm so annoyed and need to vent. This will be a lot, so I'm sorry in advance. I, 28 female, have been together with my husband, 27 male, for nearly 10 years. We got married at 21, had our first son a year after, followed by our daughter 3 years later. I built my whole life around my family. We got good jobs. He worked full-time, I worked from home. We had a good home in a great neighborhood, and we put our children in good schools. We also had a successful business on the side. I thought we did everything right. My best friend, since we were in middle school, lived close. We had our daughters around the same time, and we'd have play dates all the time. We leaned on each other a lot. I gave her all the support when she was going through issues with her daughter's deadbeat father and got her in contact with a good lawyer. I leaned on her when I was recovering from my traumatic second birth and the depression that followed. We leaned on each other for everything. 10 months ago, I found out I was pregnant for the third time. I was really uneasy about this because of my traumatic experience the second time. Also, my husband and I both agreed we were done after our 2 children. I considered abortion, but my husband insisted we keep it. I was still uneasy about the pregnancy and borderline miserable for the next 6 months. I was diagnosed with hyperemesis gravidium, I hope I said that right, and was throwing up 20 times a day for 6 months straight. Ooh. I lost a ton of weight, had to stop working, and was sent to the hospital frequently due to severe dehydration. My husband stood by me and showered me with attention, for which I was so grateful. He cut down his hours at work to look after me, the house, and the kids. My best friend would come to our house frequently to check on me and also help me with the house. When I hit 6 months, the hyperemesis gravidium decreased a lot, and I was almost back to myself. One night, after having a movie night with my family, my husband and I were getting ready to sleep. He fell asleep right away while I quickly checked on the kids before getting into bed. His phone was vibrating like crazy, so out of genuine curiosity, I unlocked his phone. We used to do this a lot when we were younger, so I didn't think too much of it. I was already sitting in bed. I saw messages from my friend. They were frantic spam messages. One of them said, "Please come over, I need you." Another said, "I know I shouldn't be messaging here, but I miss you. And come over when she's asleep." I think I was in a daze for nearly 5 minutes. I cried a lot quietly, and the fatigue kind of left me. I scoured his phone looking for more. I saw emails and DMs from them both, even using apps like Kik to message, and the pictures. But the worst part was finding out my husband had left me one time in the hospital with my mother while he went back home, where my kids were being babysat by my friend, and got intimate in our bedroom with our kids in the house. I kicked him out the following morning after confronting him and filed for separation sometime after. For the next 2 months, he had been begging for forgiveness, then complaining and insulting me that I'm not letting him see his kids, or that I'm stopping him from going with me to doctor appointments, which I had been. We had planned months earlier about who was going to be in the labor room. It was going to be my mother and husband. He called me when I was 35 weeks, questioning the labor situation. At this point, he had moved in with my ex-friend's house shortly before this call. I said no, and he got very angry. Lots of my in-laws and family members told me to put our differences aside for our baby. I still said no. I gave birth to my son with my mother and sister present and didn't feel any regret about my choice. After my second traumatic birth, I just wanted to make sure this one was as stable as possible, which it was. We were going to name our child after his father, who passed away. I went along with it to make him happy, but changed my mind and picked a name I had always loved since childhood. This aggravated him even more. Am I the asshole? Because I'm being guilt-tripped by many people right now. All I want is for everyone to leave me alone and for me to just be with my kids. Edit. Just wanted to add that I do let him see the kids. That would be crazy if I didn't. My children love their dad. I just have certain boundaries now that we aren't together, and he doesn't respect them. He gets angry and says things that are categorically not true. He got to meet our newborn son hours after I gave birth. Well, I gotta say, that is definitely a very unfortunate situation to be in if I was OP. I mean, I'm not, because for one, I'm not a woman, so I can't get pregnant, but discovering that your partner's cheating while you're pregnant is definitely a horrific thing to think about. And knowing that your spouse was cheating on you with your best friend is absolutely heart-wrenching, and it really makes you reevaluate a lot of your decisions and the decisions you're going to have to make in the future. I will say, though, I do feel kind of weird about OP changing the name of the baby, even though OP and her soon-to-be ex-husband agreed upon the name. I understand being upset, and I understand that what happened regarding you and your husband was not cool. I understand that. I still feel, though, that naming the child something different, even though you agreed upon it, is kind of makes you take a step back. But considering she was also upset, and when people are upset, they do things, and they don't regret those things most of the time, I would have to say that keeping the husband out of the delivery room, I'm not with it, but I'm not against it either. I understand why she didn't do it, because he wasn't loyal. He clearly did not care about maintaining the family, because if he did, he wouldn't have been cheating in their house, in their bedroom. And at the same time, the husband does have a right to see the kids and to go to the appointments for the new baby, because he is the father. You know, if the father is trying to be there, you should give him that opportunity, but still keep it on a cordial level, because understandably you don't want to be with him anymore. But maybe my perspective is a little skewed, because for one, I've never been in this situation, and two, I'm a guy, so I don't fully understand how women operate. You know, I'm not a mind reader, and I will never try to be. But do I think she's the a-hole for it? No, not at all. I don't agree with her changing the kid's name, even though you guys agreed on it, but I wouldn't consider you an a-hole for it. You did that because that is your way of saying you don't want anything to do with your soon-to-be ex. And when it comes to relationships that I do have experience with, when you're having a bad situation with somebody, cutting them off and moving on as quickly as possible is the best answer. There were some comments on this. Number one, because none of these comments have actual names. I guess this because of this Reddit subreddit that didn't want to put the names on this one. But commenter 1 says, "Not the a-hole. This is a scenario where you should feel safe and comfortable. He was cheating and left you in the hospital, so you shouldn't listen to him." Commenter number 2 responds to a particular line that OP said in the story that says, "Lots of my in-laws and family members told me to put our differences aside for our baby." Commenter 2 says, "You can tell every one of them that you put the safety of our baby and yourself ahead of someone else's wants. You made the right decision. They should be grateful that you had enough strength to put your lives and safety first, not the a-hole." That's actually a good point, commenter 2. Commenter number 3 says, "Not the a-hole. How could you have a stress-free birth with him in the room? Why did he even feel entitled to ask?" I think I can answer commenter number 3. The reason why my husband feels entitled to ask is because he is the father of the child. As much as you might not like it, he does have the right to ask, and if he wants to be there, he can voice his opinion on that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, it comes with the caveat of he cheated. So, while he has the right to ask, that doesn't mean that OP is going to respond in a positive way. Commenter number 4 says, "Absolutely not the a-hole. Your soon-to-be ex-husband and your ex-friend are both monumentally huge pieces of shit. Wow, I'm so sorry. I hope you find someone else to love and love you after this is all settled." That's actually a good comment, number 4. And luckily, there is an update, and hopefully it's a very good update. This update is actually December the 26th, 2024, so this was technically 11 months later. Well, I mean, actually 12, it's 11, because 12 months would have been a year. I'm being goofy. Don't worry about me. Anyway, on to the story. So I'm back after nearly a whole year. I completely forgot about this post because I've been so wrapped up in other things. For anyone who doesn't want to read the whole post, here's a summary. Quote, "My husband had been cheating on me with my best friend while I was pregnant. I was close to giving birth and decided not to have my then husband in the labor room with me. I also chose a name for our baby that he didn't agree with. Like I said, it's basically been a whole year. My baby turned 1 today, and after celebrating his birthday and Christmas with my kids, it finally hit me. This is my new reality. First of all, my ex-husband and I finally went through the divorce proceedings. I have been holding it off during my pregnancy and early postpartum period to avoid added stress and to carefully plan for my children and myself. I was awarded primary custody of our children. Their dad visits once a week, and the 2 older kids, 7 and 4, spend every other weekend with him. My youngest will start doing the same in a couple of months, which makes me nervous. He's especially clingy with me. All of my kids, but my youngest, has really only known me as their most present parent. One of the main stipulations in our custody agreement is that my ex's affair partner is prohibited from seeing the kids. My poor kids have been confused enough by their parents' sudden split, and I didn't want them even more confused by seeing their aunt, who was supposed to be mommy's best friend, with their dad. It was deemed emotionally detrimental in court. As for the baby's name, he's been so bitter about it. I think he's still annoyed about it. His side has been trying to convince me to change the name to something we both like, especially after the divorce was finalized. But it's been a year now, and the baby quite literally answers by the name I gave him, so I'm not going to be changing it. He was also unhappy with the child support payments, among other payments, and asked for some revisions. One main thing he asked to change was the cost of our kids' school tuition. He pays for their tuition, which he felt was too much and too harsh, but the court stuck with the original payments. As for my ex-husband and ex-best friend, they continued dating. I found out they had started seeing each other a month into my third pregnancy. They had actually slept together during my second pregnancy, but didn't pursue a relationship then because, as they put it, they weren't ready to ruin things and didn't want to hurt anybody. Wow. Yeah, great job with that. My ex's side have been very supportive of their relationship, even inviting her to holiday gatherings like Thanksgiving or family holidays. Because of this, my kids don't go very often to these events. I don't know, after this whole fiasco, I'm coming to the realization that perhaps my ex's side never really liked me that much. But that's okay. I eventually spoke with my ex-best friend to ask why they did it. She claimed that they were just friends but grew close while she was dealing with issues involving her deadbeat ex-boyfriend. Both of them insisted that my ex-husband just wanted to protect her, which supposedly turned into love. Yeah, whatever. Hearing this hurt me a lot, but at the same time, I felt relieved to know the truth. While I sat with this information for a while, it stopped hurting. It made me realize that I didn't still love my ex-husband and could finally let go of him and their betrayal. They broke up a week ago. Apparently, it's just a break, though who knows. Although my kids go to their dad's house every other weekend, it has helped a lot with making time for myself. Obviously, I'm figuring out who I am without being a wife or mom all the time. In many ways, I find what happened to be a true blessing, which is why I'm no longer angry. As for me, I've been seeing someone. It hasn't been very long, nor is it that serious yet, but we get along great. Initially, my ex-husband made the whole situation difficult. He didn't want me to have any man, specifically around the kids. I don't know if you can really have that kind of battle, because you were the cheater. Edit. I don't know how to do update posts, so my apologies if this is wrong. This is likely the last update. Just wanted to check in to let everyone know I'm okay. Well, all's well that ends well, technically. I mean, OP was able to move on. The kids are okay, which is very important. The husband, even though he's a jerk off, along with the ex-best friend, OP has been able to move on from them in what appears to be a good way. There doesn't seem to be any anger aimed towards them anymore. She's just focused on taking care of herself and her kids, and she doesn't miss her ex-husband, and it sounds like she doesn't really miss her ex-friend. It does suck that the ex's family is showing signs that they didn't care for her, though. That does seem a bit crappy because the kids are still related, so the very least you could do is still show love towards the kids. My parents have been divorced, and both sides always still treated me with love and respect, and they still cared for the other partner. My dad's side will still ask me about my mom and hope she has, good holidays and good days, and likewise with some members of my mom's family. So having a side of the family make a blatant choice, a very obvious choice of who they, well, not obvious in terms like, oh, this is the best decision, but obvious in where like their favoritism with their, well, obviously with the husband because it's from his side, but the clear cut of, hey, we actually like him and his new girlfriend now, even though they're the reason why he's not married anymore in the first place. That feels a bit jaded. But All in all, I'm glad that OP was able to successfully move on in a positive way. And I'm really glad that the kids are still okay. And that both parents are still involved in the kids' development from beginning to now. Obviously, when kids aren't given the opportunity to be around both parents consistently, it can cause issues in their development. It can cause issues in how they treat other people. It can cause issues in their life, basically. Parental guidance is so vital. So I'm very happy that OP and ex-husband were able to work together on that front. There are some relevant comments, and the OP has responded to a few of them. Commenter 1 said, "Did he break up with the ex-best friend after he learned that you were seeing someone?" And OP responded, "I started seeing this guy in October. He found out about it in late November." So she started seeing the guy in October, he found out in November, and then they broke up in December. OP's ex-husband probably had a little bit of hope. OP explains the court order on not allowing the children to see their father's affair partner. OP goes, "True, it was something I didn't even think I'd get, but if there's evidence that them being around her could be emotionally detrimental, then they can be done. But you must show concrete evidence. During our separation, I had put my older two in therapy to cope with the change, and I was able to use their therapist as the evidence needed. It's not a permanent stipulation anyways either." Well, that's actually that's a good way to get it done, and also making sure the kids were in therapy is a good way to help them move on through this potentially crazy situation. Commenter 2 put, "Good job. Never let that snake friend back into your life, even if she comes crawling back now." OP said, "She claimed that I had not been the greatest friend to her at times during our very long friendship either." So you use that as a chance to sleep with your friend's husband? That sounds like some garbage to me. Oh, you weren't really the best of friend of all time, so I'm going to sleep with your husband and ruin your family. That's not an excuse. That is terrible. I really don't like her friend. Her friend is selfish and self-centered. Commenter number 3 goes, "OMG, none of us are perfect, and most of us can't be the greatest friend all the time, but it doesn't mean we fuck our friends' husbands when they aren't the greatest. She's literally the worst." I didn't even read that comment before I said what I said. Commenter 3 understands what's going on. Commenter 3 gets it. I'm just saying. Because I didn't even read that comment before I said what I just said, and commenter 3 is just on it. OP goes, "I felt like strangling her in that moment. I couldn't think of a single thing I did wrong that could warrant her doing that to me. But it is what it is." But it is what it is definitely a way to move on to better things. That is the end of this story. If you guys can do me a favor and like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon for notifications on when stuff is coming up. And if you could do me another favor and watch more videos of my content, it helps with the algorithm, and it'll help me get back on my feet in terms of being in the good side of the algorithm. Because honestly, the copyright strike I received really did a number on the numbers that I was getting and the positive attention I was getting on the channel. To those of you who have been there from the very beginning, I thank you yet again for being patient with me and being patient throughout this whole journey that I started. Because I started doing this back in July, and I'm very close to actually making some positive ground with this channel. I hope you guys stay with me along the way. And the new goal well, along with the first goal. The first goal was to get 4,000 hours of watch time. I am close to 3,000, so I know that goal will be possible soon. But also, if we can get this channel to 10,000 subscribers, that would be absolutely amazing. We were starting to get there, and then the copyright strike happened, and all the momentum was cut short. So this is a fresh start, a fresh opportunity for everybody, and I hope you guys stick with me. I appreciate all of the positive support that you send my way, and as always, stay safe and have a great day, and Happy New Year. Hooray!